There's no shortage of people trying to scam you out of money, business owners specifically, because you're spread so thin.
Hey, welcome to Smart AF. I'm your host, Torie Mathis. We have got a great show for you today, so let's get started.
So I hate answering the phone. Don't like it. Most of the calls I get, complete garbage. But when it comes to Miles Through Time, I gotta answer the phone.
Every time.
But I know it's a Miles Through Time call because I've got a special ring on my phone, so I'll answer it every single time as long as I actually am capable of answering the phone, you know. So I've been getting phone calls pretty frequently for a few weeks now where nobody's there. It's a delay and then a little click. And then it's the whole it's either that or it's the hello, don't hang up. Like, seriously?
They really say hello, don't hang up?
Yeah, in an automated voice.
I don't answer these calls ever.
So every time I'm like, I don't have time for this, and click, click, click. The other day it happened again, and we got to the gym early, so we were gonna sit there anyways. And I was like,
sitting there checking our email in the car.
Yeah, so
before we go in.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna see what this is, because actually in this one, so it's either the delayed click. So I know right off the bat it's automated, or it's the hello, don't hang up, or it's this one that says
it's like, oh, don't hang up.
Yeah, okay, because you tell me not to. Or it's this I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it's something about you're verifying your Google listing. So it's the Google listing one that caught my attention a little bit because I'm very familiar with the museum's Google business listing.
We're familiar with all of our clients' Google, like, we know what's going on with Google listing.
Right.
So yeah.
So I've been hanging up on them for weeks now.
Has it really been weeks they've been calling?
For weeks, yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
And I answered it yesterday, and it tells me that something about wanting to verify my business to make sure everything's right in case it gets shut down.
But this wasn't okay, so when they called, was it all automated? Because I heard you talking to somebody. Like, when did it click to somebody?
It was automated, telling me that.
Okay.
So I listened long enough for it to tell me, hey, we want to make sure your business is verified and all that kind of stuff. I know it's verified, but it said, hey, click 1 or stay on the line or whatever the hell the thing was. And so I did. And then it goes, and now I got a real person, right? So the real person is like, the reason we've been calling, we want to make sure all your information is good and it's not accurate and all that kind of stuff. And we just want to make sure everything's. And so right off the bat, I'm like, everything's been verified for like sure. 4 years now. And literally what the guy said was, oh, it looks like you got a really nice museum here.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
Click. Hung up on me afterwards. And so I always Google numbers. Like, I want to know who's calling. And so I Googled this number. Very first one, Google scam. So I don't know what they would have done. I mean, I didn't want to mess with it too long. I mean, I could have toyed with the guy, I suppose, but I'm assuming somewhere along there he's either collecting data and then reselling that somehow, or he was going to try to sell me on something. And because I knew my Google business listing was verified, he had nothing. But how many people don't? I mean, we've talked about claiming your Google business and making sure all your information is correct. Well, what happens when that phone rings and that person doesn't have a clue about their Google business listing? Maybe it's the first time they even heard of it, and now you got this guy calling saying, let's make sure everything's all verified. Starts checking off all these boxes, getting all your information. Maybe they want that credit card number. You're not talking to Google, man.
No.
I mean, it blows my mind, but the simple fix is just know what you got out there. And you want to verify something that, like, I literally can see is a verified thing on a weekly basis. Like, there was nothing. So he just hung up on me.
Well, once you have your Google business listing all set up, you get alerts through it right to your email. And you, like Sean said, you can always just go right in there. So this is something that like you really need to set up for your business, like no matter what it is, and never let somebody talk you into giving money over the.
I had another one while we were out, and it was to connect Google AdSense to my Google business.
Do you think that one was a scam too?
I don't know.
I remember you had that call, and you were like, "That's kind of weird that they called me." Yeah. Like, does Google really do that?
I don't know if they really like it's. Like you don't call Google, you don't call Facebook, you don't call these people. Like it's all through their chat or their email. Like that's how you interact with these people.
Well, I do have a rep that I talk to at Facebook, but like that's not. And I've talked about that before. That's not usual.
You can't just go do that.
You
can't say, "Hey, I want to talk to this person." Like you went through channels to get to that to where it's validated. So I would be hesitant to do anything with somebody on a cold call out of the blue for any of that kind of stuff.
Man, do you remember when we had a friend of ours and she called me while it was happening, and it was that somebody was calling and said she had a warrant for her arrest and they were going to come. Oh my gosh. They had her so scared, talked her into driving down there and paying money. Oh, but like right when she hung up, like she got to that point where like she knew like what was happening was like not real, but they were so convincing and so like they had their whole shtick down that she was convinced that like there was something wrong. And oh my gosh, like I can't believe this because it kind of sounded right. She was like, well, I know I do stuff with the courts because of this. And like it all kind of seemed right, just like the Google listing. Well, do I have a Google listing? Like I could see how they make it that it seems like maybe it is real. Well, I do want my business verified.
See, and like, because I don't typically answer the phone for random numbers, I knew kind of what I was going to answer or what I was getting myself into when I answered the phone. But even if I didn't, like, hang up on them. Like right in the middle of it, hey, I want to verify my business. Even if it's legit, hang up on them. Search that number real quick. See if it's legit.
Luckily, there are people out there that have had the same stuff happen. So doing something like that and double checking
because we get the mail ones all the time.
Right, that's what I was just gonna say. Just like the mail ones,
we got one 2 weeks ago.
You need to. Oh, it was the same one, right? The domain listings.
Exact same one. We're on their list.
It's a bill, and it's like you need to domain registry, blah blah blah. It totally seems legit. Like it's $218, and if you don't, you're gonna lose your business list. It sounds legit. But like again,
so they make it appear that if you don't pay this what appears to be a bill, your website disappears.
Just like Google, like your business isn't verified, people aren't going to find you. That fear they tried to get
completely inaccurate. But in that, because it's mailed, if you just do a little research and determine what this thing is that they're trying to collect money from you, you're very quickly going to realize you don't host with them. That's not where you purchased your domain name. They've got nothing on you. On a phone, you may not be able to do that real quick, but hang up on them and look. If it's legit, they'll call back.
Yeah, they will. Or they'll email you, back, right? And then you can tell if it's a legit email. I know I've had a lot of our clients contact us, and they're like, "Hey, we got this. Is this legit?" And we're able to, take care of them and make sure that they're not being charged for things that they shouldn't be, or we know if stuff is a scam or stuff like that, because it's the same things over and over again that these people are trying to do.
There's no shortage of people trying to scam you out of money, business owners specifically, because you're spread so thin, you have no idea what fees or things you have to get licenses for or register for or any of this kind of stuff that when somebody says, hey, you owe us money for this, you're like, I suppose I do. Here's my check,
Well, and no matter, even if it's Google, even if it's Facebook, even if whatever it is, even if it's the court system calling and saying they have a warrant for your arrest, like you always have time to, like you said, hang up and do a little bit of research before you make any decision, before you give any information out, before you give any money over. Definitely do your due diligence. If it is important, they will contact you again. And worst case scenario, like they're not going to shut your business down. They're not going to shut down your Google completely. Like, that's not how this stuff works.
That's what got me a little curious, was when they said, my Google business could get shut down if I didn't verify it. I was like, well, what is this all about, right?
Yeah, we know that's not how this works.
I know it's verified, but hopefully we'll have put an end to that phone call charade.
Yeah, I'm glad you checked. I'm glad you did that, because I was wondering what was going on. Like, it just didn't seem quite right.
Like, Google is free. Facebook is free. You shouldn't have to pay them for anything you don't want. And that payment process is going to start online. You're going to go straight to Google AdSense and all that kind of, and you're going to put your information in there, and that's where you're going to
And if they wanted to contact you, they would probably not call you like that, because there's no way that they can verify that that's them. They'll email you, they'll have an alert in your account. There's other ways that if it's legitimately them, that they're going to make sure it's them. Like, it's coming from, your Google account, or it's coming from, Facebook.
I actually, for the museum, it was a bit of an ordeal to change locations for the museum because we were under construction on the new one. Although I needed to transfer the Google business listing to the new location, they didn't want to have it verified until the museum was officially open. Well, that's not going to work for me when the old one they're going to keep it in the old one and start, and people are going to keep going to a location that doesn't exist anymore. Like, I can't have that. So I had to work with them, which was all through email. And then it was actually video voice through Google, so Google Voice, talking to a representative through Google, who then I walked around and got everything verified. But like, it was all through Google.
It just wasn't a random.
It was not a random phone call
Yeah.
whatsoever, and then it verified. But you always just go to your Google business and look, and it will tell you verified or not, like, and you're done. It's not going to get unverified unless you change something in there that's against their rules, and you wind up having something flagged. But for the most part, but like I said, like, you get a phone call like that, hang up on them, pull up your Google business listing, it still says verified, answer the phone again and tell them to stop calling you.
So you're going to turn them in.
Yeah.
There's something you do. Probably like Google No. And again, like Facebook is a really great place, or LinkedIn. Like, let other business owners know that this has happened to you, so that way they can go and say, oh, that happened to me too. And then we're all letting each other know, like, don't fall for this stuff. Like, we got to take care of each other.
It makes me so sad to think of, like, they're doing it
because it works.
Like, they're making money off of somebody, multiple people. And, it's a thing with business owners. It's a thing with the elderly.
Old people, yeah.
It's brutal. So, I mean, do your due diligence and make sure it doesn't happen to you.
Don't be afraid to sit on it, to wait, to hang up. Like, the worst that's going to happen is they're going to contact you. Take care of yourself.
And on the odd chance, let's say Google does call and says, hey, something's going on, and we're going to unverify your business listing unless you talk to us. I don't think this is going to happen, but let's hypothetically say it does. You don't answer the phone. Google business listing gets unverified. Re-verify it. Like, you're gonna get.
It doesn't cost money.
Yeah,
to
you're
do
gonna
this.
get emailed, and whatever information it is that they needed, give it to them. You're up and running again. You're gonna get email notification. Like, it's you're gonna see it all. So
don't fall.
No worries, man.
If you want to get smart tools to build your business, go to besmartaf.com.